All right, just for our records, go ahead and state your name for us.
I'm Mike Mahaffey.
How many years were you at Aldite?
Well, I began my career in 1974. When I got out of high school, my dad asked me what I was going to do for the summer. And I told him that I had a job as first mate on the Captain Anderson No. 9 in Panama City, running a 2 o'clock trip, and I was looking real forward to it. He told me, son, that sounds really good, but I got you a job at the highway department working in a survey party. And I said, Dad, what is a survey party? And he said, son, you'll be able to tell me all about that at the end of the summer. And he was a very much wiser man than I was. I spent all my life growing up wanting to be doing something on the sea. And after a summer with the highway department, I changed my direction, and 43 and a half years later, here I am with Aldite.
Walk us through all the positions you've held with us.
Well, I began my career in '74, worked in a survey party, and I spent the first 6 or 8 years in construction, where I inspected bridge work and drainage work and work on dirt and asphalt, concrete. Did a little bit of everything you could do on a construction project. And when I got out of school at Auburn, I went back into construction, where I was an assistant project engineer. And 2 years later, I was moved to materials and test in the 3rd Division, and as assistant materials engineer. And I was over our lab, and I got to spend time at Asphalt Refinery, and where they make pre-stressed bridge girders. I worked around asphalt and concrete plants, went to plan reviews, did pavement build-ups for highways, and spent 5 years in materials. Then I went back to construction for a couple of years as a project manager on 2 projects where we were widening I-59 through downtown Birmingham. At the end of that, I was asked to be assistant maintenance engineer. I held that position for 10 years, and it was a great period of time. I learned a lot, was involved in a lot of stuff, snow and ice removal, emergency bridge work. It was a great time. And then I went out to be the district engineer in Birmingham and spent 2 years there, which was another, a learning experience like nothing you can imagine. And had the good fortune to be in the right place to see. We had 2 bridges that burned up, and we rebuilt them in record time. And I got to be an integral part of that as district engineer at the time. And from there, I became construction engineer in the 3rd Division in Birmingham for 12 years. And it's probably the best job a man could have anywhere. It was a fantastic place to be and a good group of people to work with. And now I am the assistant region engineer for operations in the East Central region.
What about, do you have a favorite quote as pertains to leadership?
I do have a favorite quote for leadership and life both. And the quote is from the great philosopher Jimmy Buffett. He says, I've read dozens of books by heroes and crooks and learned much from both of their styles. And I haven't read dozens of books, and I've never worked with crooks, but I've had the opportunity to be around a lot of really effective managers and managers that maybe weren't as effective. And being an observer of people, I've tried to take the things that I thought were really good from those good managers and apply them to what I do, and try to make sure I don't develop the habits of some of the managers that I thought weren't as effective and the habits that they had. So I've kind of learned that that same principle applies to life. And I've kind of figured out that a good manager, typically, my experience of watching them, seem to have a good life outside the department as well as inside the department. So give Buffett a little credit.
What about a favorite Bible verse?
Well, there's a lot of them that I could throw in there, but I'm just going to say, be still and know that I am God, because I I'm the kind of guy I like to get up and do, and I like to know what's going to be happening next. And sometimes you just have to be still and hear the voice of God so that you know what He really expects you to do in whatever situation you find yourself.
What about maybe a favorite book on leadership?
I've never read a book on leadership, but growing up I had an uncle that one of his friends was a World War II Navy veteran. And when you entered the Navy, they give you a book called the Blue Jacket Manual. And growing up, I wanted to have a life on the sea. I wanted to be on the water. And my parents wanted me to have a college education. So I figured I'd be an oceanographer. But I love that Blue Jacket Manual because it tells you, it's like the Bible for a Navy man. And it tells you everything you need to do to be a successful sailor. So as a child, I read that book over and over and over, and it's got a great section in there. I've even got an updated version besides the World War II version, and there's a section on leadership in there, and it's condensed. It's not a huge book, but it has a lot of great information on what it takes to be a good leader. And so I'd recommend anybody get a copy of the Blue Jacket Manual and read it. Never been in the Navy, but it's a great book. So.
All right, let's jump into your first topic here and talk a little bit about employee mentoring.
Employee mentoring is a very important part of what we do at ALDOT now. One of my friends, John Lorenzen, who was deputy director of the department, were hunting together one day, and we were walking out of the woods together, and he looked at me and said, "Mahaffey, the best thing you can do for this department for the rest of your career is share your experience and the things that you've learned with younger people." And I thought about that quite a bit, and he's right. And I've been very fortunate my whole career to have been mentored along the way. Most everybody that I've been around has taken an interest in me, and I guess maybe they saw something that I wanted to learn and wanted to be challenged, and they put me in a position to do that. So particularly as construction engineer, when I would run across young people, whether they were engineers or not engineers, if they had that desire to learn and to be challenged and wanted to grow, I had a crew of people that I knew I could put them with, that they would give them the opportunity to grow and learn and be challenged, and I could watch that and mentor that myself and help these people learn and grow in their job and as citizens. And it was very rewarding for myself and for the people that helped me in mentoring these young people, because you know that you're doing something good, not only for the department, but for those people themselves too. And it's a very effective thing.
All right. What did we say that we wanted your second topic? What did we? I didn't write it down. I'm sorry. Transition to supervision. Okay. What do you see as important points thinking about an employee that's transitioning to a supervision role?
When you're growing in ALDOT and you're working yourself into a position to be a supervisor, one of the hardest things to do is to realize that you're no longer one of the guys. You've got to separate yourself from that. Doesn't mean that you don't care about them, you still do, and you appreciate the things that you learned from them and shared with them growing up, but there's a line that you have to draw. You're not one of the good old boys anymore. It's time to be a leader. And it's very hard for engineers sometimes to do that, because as engineers we have a tendency to be technical and rely on our technical training and background, and that's all good. It's an important part of what we do, but in supervising people, most people don't fall into an equation or some kind of mathematical formula. So you have to be observant of your people and their needs and the way they operate and what motivates them, And you have to start thinking with a different side of your brain when you're becoming a supervisor. You have to show your supervisors that you are ready for that, and you have to show the people that you're going to supervise that you're able to do that, that they can come to you, you can help them with whatever their problems and their needs are, and that you'll do that in a fair and just way. And it really takes a whole different attitude for you to do that, because like I say, people are not the same, and you can't put them in a box. You got to treat each one of them differently, and it takes a little time to learn how to do that. It doesn't come easy for engineers, typically speaking.
I know you said, Mr. Lorenzen said the most important thing you can do is share your experiences. What's one story that sticks out that you'd love for these people going through this Leadership Academy to hear?
Well, when I got out of college, a bunch of my buddies that were young graduate engineers, we all met at the engineering conference in February every year. And one of our first ones, a bunch of the guys from the Birmingham division was ready to go into lunch, and we were standing around one of our bosses. And one of the guys asked him, said, "What is it going to take for us to get where you are in our careers?" He said, "Well, that's really very simple." He said, "What you do is you get up every morning and you come to work." He said, "Not just show up, but you come to work. You work every day, do your best, volunteer to do things you hadn't done before, accept whatever challenges is put before you, and you don't have to worry about when you're going to get a promotion or when you're going to move up. That's going to come to you, and it's going to happen for you because of the work ethic you have." So I've tried to take that to heart, and I believe it's very important for anybody, whether they're going to be one of the high supervisors or just a chief inspector on a construction project. If you're going to supervise people, if you're going to manage, you got to come to work every day. You got to do your job, give it everything you got. To be a good leader, the first thing you got to do is learn to be a good follower. And then you got to remember that that's what those people are trying to do. They're gonna watch your lead. So if you do the right things, you come to work every day, you have a good work ethic, you accept the challenges that are given to you, good things will happen to you. Not just at work, but in life too.
Excellent. All right, what about just one final word of encouragement for these future leaders?
Work is a good thing. And as a leader, not only can you take pride in the things that you have accomplished for the Department of Transportation and the people who use our roads, but you have the ability to help and grow the people around you. And so what we do is very important. And it's not just important for those cars going up and down the road, but it's important to the people that we work around. I've been very fortunate in my career to meet a lot of people with ALDOT around the state. And I think you should take opportunity at these meetings and conferences we go to and do that, because I've formed really good friendships with people that I hunt with, fish with. Our families get together and have recreational time together. And not only is it good for the department, but it's good for us. And met a lot of wonderful people while I've been here at ALDOT. I can't think of a better experience or a better way to go than to work here and to form those relationships that you have the opportunity to do here at ALDOT. So take advantage of that while you're here. It's work, and work is important, but so are the relationships that we build.